Here is John F. Kennedy box, 1962, sitting on the White House, Oval Office.
The desk?
At his desk.
Wow.
Hey, Rick. Can you answer a couple questions for me?
Sure.
He's the one that bought it.
Hey, so what's up?
I'm interested in your cigar box.
Okay.
Well, I've got some extra money laid back, looking for something of historical significance.
That was John F. Kennedy's. It sat on his desk in the Oval Office. This is the one he put the cheap cigars in.
I came to Vegas with my wife for a convention, and, we always stop in the pawn shop just to look at the different historic things. When I first saw the cigar box, I really kind of wanted to hear the story. I love history. It's a kind of a hobby of mine. Maybe we can work a deal out.
The day before the whole Cuban embargo thing happened, he had Pierre Salinger go around the entire D.C. area, bought all the type of Cuban cigars he liked, and he kept those in his cigar humidor. And he put this one on his desk and put the less expensive cigars on it. These are the cigars that he was handing out that were sitting on his desk. I think they might be a little dry now. But this is the one that actually sat on his desk. I got letters when they inventoried the thing, paperwork up at the Gazoo.
This is letters right from his secretary, day after he passed away. And then Robert White actually bought it, and there's paperwork on that too as well.
Yeah, you rarely get this much paperwork or something.
Once in a lifetime piece.
It really is. In terms of presidential memorabilia, this is practically the best. I mean, there will never be any more cigar boxes owned by JFK. And this is the only cigar box he placed on the Oval Office desk. And that's why it's valuable. It's a one-of-a-kind, just like me.
What are we talking price-wise here? I mean,
I'll take 80 grand for it.
80.
80,000?
I was thinking more like 60,000.
No, because I would lose money at that. His personal cigar box went for, I think, $500,000. And this is his other one. Give me 80 grand for it. I mean, it's John F. Kennedy's cigar box. I mean,
That's quite a bit of money.
it's a pretty amazing piece of history, though.
Well, what about 70?
Can you give me like 78?
72.5?
75 is what I could take. It really is. It's 75. It's a fair price. And honestly, I'm not going to go any less.
$75.
75. Write them up.
Cool. Got a deal, boss.
Honestly, it was pretty cool having JFK's cigar box in the shop. And I'm a little sad letting it go. Luckily, I made $15,000 off this one deal to help me get through this difficult time. Hey, how's it going?
Good, good. I have this to offer you.
And this is...
This is the earliest sticker-sealed Super Mario Brothers Nintendo game.
That's pretty amazing. I know some of them go for a lot of money. Chum.
What?
Can you come over in here and help me for a moment?
What's up, Rick?
Okay, the guy has I guess this is a really early one.
The earliest print still sealed of Super Mario Brothers in existence.
Oh, wow. Mind if I take a look?
Absolutely, sure.
Oh, this is this isn't the shrink wrap version. This is the sticker stilled version, which I don't know too much about, but I know these are pretty rare.
This one also happens to be an incredibly high grade. Even if the other ones are found, there's no way it's going to come close to this condition.
All right. How much do you want for it?
It's a piece of history. It's something that's hard for me to part with, but I would sell it for $1 million.
$1 million.
Yep.
All right.
It's a lot of money for a video game.
I agree. It is a lot of money.
I know there's video game collecting going on. I know I've seen some recent auctions where I was sort of shocked when, like, there's some video games sold for $29,000, just the cartridges. But I didn't know the market exists for six-figure games, much less $1 million game. From all my research, WATA is the company that grades these. These are the ones you trust. So I'm actually going to go call them up and see if I can get one of their guys down here. I would really like to get their opinion. But no offense, I mean, I just never heard of a video game going for $1 million, and I just don't know if that exists or not. Okay, I will be right back.
Okay.
So he wants $1 million for this thing, which I think is insane.
Yeah, I remember it, and I know why he's asking astronomical money on this one. This is probably the most significant piece of video game history that's ever passed through our grading company.
Okay, and he also said that this was the best condition.
Yeah, so what makes this special, there's a lot of different indicators. First, you're gonna see this sticker, so it's not shrink wrapped. It's from the test market launch of the NES, as far as we know, which was only in 1985 and 1986. No one even knew who Nintendo was. But back then, they were just another company. Once they started mass producing these and sending them across the country, they had to have something that would last on the shelves longer, which is also why seeing this in this condition is just, it's a complete anomaly. This is the second print, and it's the earliest known. There's no other second prints or even first prints known that are still sealed. So we don't know the exact number of copies that were printed in the first test market launch, but we're estimating it's somewhere around the 10,000 print run. And how many of those survived sealed? One, as far as we know.
So if this went into an auction today, your estimate would be?
It's really hard to tell. It hasn't sold on the open market. As video games are starting to be viewed more as art and history, not just these relics of nostalgia, this is it. This is the one that started it all. It's got the trifecta. It's got rarity, it's got popularity, everyone knows Mario, and it's got significance to collectors. But with things like this, it's high risk, high reward. I know of firm offers that have been turned down at $300,000. It goes up from there. There's no ceiling, really.
Okay, I learned a lot today.
Absolutely. My pleasure, anytime. Good luck.
Thank you.
At first, I thought you were crazy. I'm literally a little bit shocked and a little bit speechless, but realistically, what do you want for it?
I'm asking $1 million.
There's a big business in these right here, and I just been looking into maybe getting into it a little bit, but I'm not going to get into it with this kind of figures to start with.
I understand. I understand.
So have a great day. I learned a lot, and obviously I have a lot of research to do.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It's good to
All right,
meet
have a
you.
good one, man.
Thank you. I'm okay that no offer was made. I'm happy to keep the game, and it's a piece of history, so I'm happy to have it in my collection.
What do we have here?
This is Elvis's Superfly coat.
I dig it.
One of the most iconic pieces of Elvis wardrobe in the collector's market.
You're saying this belonged to Elvis?
It did. Here's a picture of him wearing it.
Awesome.
Cool.
It has a fur cape. It doesn't get any better than that.
He was known for his taste in clothing.
Oh. I've been here before. I'm coming back because they treated me fairly last time. I like making deals with these guys. To me, Elvis represents America. He's one of the most iconic figures of the 20th century. I mean, there's only two people that could pull off that look, and that's Elvis and maybe a pimp.
This was Elvis's coat.
It was.
Okay.
It was made by IC Costume Company in Hollywood. This is the company that made a lot of his stage outfits, the jumpsuits, and everything like that.
How in the hell did you get this?
I bought this from Mike Moon, who owns the Elvis Presley Museum in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
Okay.
He had it on display in that museum for about 30 years. And Mike got it from J.D. Sumner, Elvis's bass singer. And I have a bill of sale from J.D. Sumner to Mike Moon, listing several items, including this coat described here. I also have a letter from the Elvis Museum, signed and notarized by Mike Moon.
Okay. It's impossible to overstate how important Elvis was to rock and roll music. But he also made a mark with his outrageous sense of style. With his jumpsuits, his glitter, his gold chains, he definitely knew how to do his own thing. And the guy owned it. I mean, look at this coat.
This thing's pretty cool. Can I try it on?
I think it might fit you.
Pretty fly for a white guy.
Where's my money? Where's my money?
Take it off.
I feel super fly, that's for sure.
One big concern about this thing is it's been stored terribly. You know,
It was under fluorescent lights in the Pigeon Forge Museum.
yeah, just ate the color completely out of this.
Yep.
Do you mind if I have someone look at this thing? I mean, it is really cool. I mean, it's a massively iconic thing.
Well, who would you like to call in?
You know who Jimmy Velvet is, right?
Yep, I
Okay.
sure do.
Knows a lot about his memorabilia and things like that. Let me call in Jimmy, have him take a look at it. How much were you looking to get out of it, too?
75,000.
Okay. Let me give him a call, and we'll go from there.
Okay. They told me they're bringing in Jimmy Velvet. He is probably the best expert on Elvis artifacts. If anybody is going to know it's original, it's going to be him.
I met Elvis through my English teacher.
Through your English teacher?
Yeah.
Were you like his tutor or something?
No, are you kidding? I needed the tutor. But that's how we met. She informed me that Elvis was going to record a song the following month that she wrote, and that song was Heartbreak Hotel. Well, I used to own numerous Elvis museums around the country, 5 total. I specialize in anything and everything Elvis.
It must have been pretty cool hanging out at Graceland.
It was always cool. You never knew what was going to happen there. You know, there was always something, and Elvis was very impatient. So you get on the plane, you're in the air, and he wants to go get a cheeseburger. But he did stuff like this. You never knew.
So what do you think of the jacket?
There's so much fake stuff out there. You pay a big dollar, but you got to be very careful what you buy. He had a bunch of these made, all different colors. This brown one, this is the one. He wore it quite a lot. It mostly to the hotels and back from the airplane. He kept this on the plane.
Sure.
One thing I really wanted to see is the IC costume label. Ah.
Tell me, did you ever see Elvis in this?
In this exact one, yes.
So you think this is the real deal?
I know it is.
Okay. The other big question, what's it worth?
The fading is going to cost a little. If I was trying to buy this coat, I would love to get it for somewhere between $50,000, $60,000, $55,000. It's a great coat. It's more than a coat. It's Elvis, you know.
All right, thanks, man.
Thank you, sir. Seeing that coat today brought back a lot of memories. I know people who would probably pay $60,000 or more for it. It's just a grand piece of history.
So what do you think I should pay for it, chum?
40 grand.
That's about right. I mean, you know what collectibles have done in the past few years. I mean, the price
Sure.
has gone down, it's not come up.
But the good stuff always remains high. And I mean, it doesn't get much better for Elvis stuff here.
$40,000 seems like a really high figure, okay? I take it off your hands, I take all the risk, and I have to sell it.
70 grand.
I can't do it. 40, I mean, I'm giving you my best number right off the bat. That's what I can do.
The jumpsuits go for hundreds of thousands. And although this is not stage worn, this is the next best thing.
If it wasn't a good piece, I wouldn't be offering you 40 grand.
Okay. I'll go 50.
No, I'll go 40 grand. I'm giving you my best shot, I really am.
You can't do 50.
40 grand.
All right, just for you. I'll do 45.
I'll go 40 grand.
I can't do that. I mean, 45 you got a deal.
It's a big investment.
I can't take a loss on it though, so. 45, I'll do it.
You gonna let it walk over $5,000, Rick?
The deal's not right, the deal's not right, dude.
Okay.
All right, man, I wish we could work. Change your mind, give me a call.
You don't want to do 45?
I'll go 40.
You got it.
All right, write them up, chum.
Sweet. All right, I'll meet you right over there. Let me put the jacket on first.
Go write them up. Go write them up.
I thought Jimmy's appraisal of 50 to 60 was a little bit low. Prices now are a lot higher than they were back then.
How can I help you today?
Well, what I have here is a piece of marble.
Okay.
I believe came from Abraham Lincoln's tomb.
Abraham Lincoln's tomb, the president. Are you kidding me?
No.
You steal it, or?
No. I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my marble from Lincoln's tomb. Basically trying to sell it so I can make a lot of money off of it. I don't know how much it's worth, so I'm hoping I'll get a few $1,000s out of it.
Okay, you have a piece of marble from Lincoln's tomb. Well, it's definitely marble. So where did you get it?
So basically my mom, she was working in an estate sale. The lady that ran it told my mom, she says, you can keep it.
He's arguably the greatest president we've ever had, and he was the first president ever to be assassinated. There's a really weird history with Lincoln's body. A whole book could be written about it. Lincoln's assassination in 1865 had a long-lasting effect on this country. And I wish I could say Honest Abe's troubles were over. But at one point, there was an attempt to steal his body. I have no idea what this writing on the back of it is. Interior paneling of Lincoln's tomb, presented to Guy Allison by Mr. Frey Custodian. And you have no paperwork, no nothing, you just have...
Just basically what's written on the marble.
That's a tough one. If the writing on this marble is correct, it is an unbelievable piece of history. And I've never even heard of one ever coming on the market. So what do you want to do with it?
Thinking selling it.
Okay. Do you mind if I call up a buddy, have him come down and take a look at it?
Okay.
Anything from Lincoln is collectible. And a marble piece from his tomb? Let's just say this is something that would get people in the door and get them talking. We have supposedly a piece of marble from Lincoln's tomb.
Okay. The Lincoln Monument in Springfield was built in the 1870s. The problem with the monument was they built it in a very nice, prominent location. It's just that there's a bunch of springs there, and the ground was sinking underneath it. They were afraid it was going to actually fall down. In 1930-31, the state of Illinois rebuilt the entire monument and rebuilt the marble interior. If this is a real piece of the marble from Lincoln's monument, this is part of our history. It's a point at which you can connect with Abraham Lincoln. So, Rick, what are your concerns about this?
How do I know that one's from Lincoln's tomb and someone just didn't write that on the piece of marble?
The fact that this is a more yellowish marble, this is right. The interesting things to me is the fact that it was given to Guy Allison. Guy Allison wrote a book about the Gettysburg Address. He must have been doing research. Fay was the custodian of the Lincoln Monument. The date is correct. He was still there in September of 1948. If somebody was faking this, they would have had to work on it to get these little details correct.
Realistically, I mean, who would make this up? Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
highly unlikely. So, my opinion is, yes, this is real.
Okay, thanks.
Not a problem.
So what do you want for it?
I was thinking maybe 25,000.
No, that's insanity right there. You know, it is. I mean, it's a crazy price. I mean, it's a piece of marble from his tomb.
It's not his top hat.
No.
Okay. You know, I mean, I would give you like $1,000 for it.
No.
Okay, it's not something that Lincoln used on a daily basis or touched or dealt with or anything like that, and it's not going to be a quick sell. Yeah, $1,000 would be it.
Oh, okay, I guess I'll just hang on to it then.
Thanks for coming in, though. It kills me to let this thing go, but there's no way I can pay 25 grand for it. But it didn't look like she was gonna move off her price.
So what do you have here today? It's an iconic piece of history. It's an original drawing by the sculptor of the Iwo Jima Memorial.
Oh, yeah, I think I've seen this thing before. Hey, Rick!
I'm right here.
I'm sorry, your bald spot was blinding me.
I'm selling an original drawing of the Iwo Jima Memorial signed by the sculptor himself, Felix de Weldon. I acquired it from a friend of mine who owns an art gallery in New York. He happens also to be a personal friend of Felix de Weldon. If I can sell the drawing or make a deal today, I'll take that money and put it aside for my grandchildren's education.
It's a great piece of history. It really is.
Who did it?
Felix de Weldon.
Who's that?
He's the one who did the giant statue of the guys raising the flag. The island of Iwo Jima, one of the most important battles of World War II. Never, okay. Anyway, that's who the guy is.
Hey, Rick, how you doing?
Good, what are you doing here?
The old man asked me to look at some police badges, so I thought I'd come down and take a look at them.
Okay, well, look at this.
Very nice. Okay, Felix de Weldon. The whole story behind the image itself is just amazing. You're talking about an image that was a snapshot. You know, Joe Rosenthal was on Mount Suribachi, a tremendous battle, a terrible battle. They'd already raised the flag. They were going to raise a second one because the first one wasn't big enough. They couldn't see it from all over the island. And he sees just out of the corner of his eye the flag starting to go up, and he flips it around and he takes a shot without actually focusing it in. And he snaps off a shot. The film is sent to Guam and then back to the United States. He doesn't know whether he's even gotten a shot. When this came out in February of 1945, even during the Battle of Iwo Jima, this became known by everyone in the United States, and it was used during the 7th War Bond Drive. It was used for the Marine Corps Memorial. Arguably, this is the best-known image of World War II.
So how much are you looking to get out of this?
$18,000.
Okay. Do you think he was done by him?
Unfortunately, I don't know his drawings. You're going to have probably Brett come in or somebody that knows art, because that's not my area. But if it is his drawing, I mean, it's a really cool piece.
Okay. Let me call in Brett.
Do you mind if I hang around? I'd love to hear what he has to say.
Sure, no problem.
I'll go take a look at the badges and I'll come back out.
Okay, we'll be right back.
Okay, great. I'm a little nervous about having an expert come in, but I'm really confident that it's going to validate what I think it's worth.
This is it?
Now, did you already weigh in on the piece?
I've said a few words, yes.
Okay, so it's kind of like I'm the monkey to your Jimi Hendrix. I'd like to take a real quick second and look at it under a loop.
Sure.
Real quick. It's definitely a graphite. You can clearly see the indentations on the paper where the impressions have been made. The signature, I mean, that's hand done, and based on what I know of Felix de Weldon's works, looks appropriate to his signature. However, the issue you get into with graphite is it's a little tougher to authenticate. When you look at a painter's work, you can study the brushstrokes. Now, Alan, is this the paperwork on the piece? All right. Now, this SPQR Fine Art, I've not heard of them.
I have a friend who had an art gallery who was a personal friend of Felix de Weldon and marketed all of his artwork.
Is there anything that can link your friend to de Weldon?
Oh, absolutely.
I think if you can, talk to your friend and maybe get something a little bit more established that links him to de Weldon and his history with the piece, that would certainly help you as well.
So is it real?
Based on what I know of his work, I'd say it's probably authentic. But again, especially when you hear what value I'm going to put on it, you might want more than a probably. It's an important work. It's his masterpiece. I'd probably put a value on this approaching $20,000. And I think it's an authentic piece. Now, whether or not that's enough for you to move forward, I'll leave that up to you, but it's fascinating.
Okay. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Good to see you again, Shum. Alan, fascinating work.
So I'm going to take off, Rick. Thank you for letting me stick around.
Assuming authenticity, I think this could be a very valuable work. A certificate of authenticity is only as good as the entity backing it up. Because in the absence of that, I just can't advise Rick to purchase a work on a definite maybe.
All right. I would pay you $15,000 any day of the week for this thing, but I need more.
Okay.
I just got to see that first.
I understand, and I'll get it for you.
Okay. Well, have a nice day, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have no problem with that. If I were buying it, I'd want the same accurate provenance. So I could have saved myself some time. Hopefully, the sale will get closed this week.
Hey, how's it going?
What's up? Got some old school Viking artifacts for you.
All right. Whoa. I mean, this is definitely some money right here.
I really want to make a couple $1,000s a day. It's a couple of the items, I didn't know exactly what they were. The prized possession, I believe, is this gold Viking bracelet. And the things I had to trade for it, it better be one of a kind.
All right, so where did you get this stuff?
I have a buddy that lives in England, and he has an antique store, and we buy and we trade from each other. And I had something he wanted, so he happened to trade me for this stuff.
All right. These are more like fragments of something.
Yeah, it was a brooch.
Obviously, some kind of jewelry. I mean, all this stuff is. I mean, the problem is, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
These two are really intriguing. This is really neat. I think it's what's left of a copper bracelet.
Okay. It's my favorite piece out of all of them.
You almost never see legitimate Viking items here in the U.S. Even small and broken pieces, like some of the things in this collection, could be worth a lot of money if they're authentic, because real Viking items are hard to come by. I'm not even sure what everything is, but you never want to dismiss anything too quickly. There might be a diamond in the rough. Did you know much about the Vikings? I mean, just in general?
I knew they were bullies. I like how they would come in and just gangster everything around.
And yeah, that's basically what they did. These were the most iron men you ever seen in your life. And just the way their culture developed was that they just believed that it was a lot easier just to go take stuff from people than to actually trade with them.
Bully them,
You know, if you went to most parts of Europe, there was planting season. Well, in Scandinavia, they planted crops and everything, but there was also raiding season. I have always been fascinated with Viking history. Their exploits are legendary, and I would just love to get something that's authentic. But I have to make sure they're truly Viking and not just rusty bits of stuff he dug out of the ground. I'm assuming you want to sell the stuff.
Yes, I would love to sell them.
All right. And did you have an idea what you wanted for this stuff?
I was thinking around $1,000.
Okay. Now, this stuff right here, okay, I can't tell you when it was made.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know if this is Celtic from like Ireland, Scotland.
It's haunted.
Okay, I can't tell you anything about it, okay? I can't tell you when this was made, but I can tell you this is gold. So there's a lot more than $1,000 worth of gold here. So I do have a friend, he is in town. I met him in New York, and he actually works on the Viking collection there at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
Okay.
Can I have him look at this stuff?
That's not a problem.
Okay?
Be my guest.
Hang out, maybe buy something.
I know he's calling in the expert, but that makes it better for me. So him calling the expert just puts money in my pocket.
This is my Viking friend.
There you go. Nice to meet you.
Laird is the most knowledgeable guy I have ever met when it comes to Viking history and artifacts. He's been collecting this stuff for almost 20 years, and some of his items are in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. So I'm hoping he can tell me more about these pieces and what they're worth.
What was the thing with the little hats they would wear with the horns on them? The weird hats. I call them the weird hats, but...
Well, the weird hats actually come from Wagner's operas. They were an improvisation of what they thought Viking helmets might look like. You know, they were really thought of as a very barbaric people. Vikings actually never wore horned helmets. We know very little about what Viking helmets actually were. There's been 1 or 2 finds of Viking helmets. Remember, these are iron items, and they didn't last long in the ground. I guess before I proceed, did this all come as part of one collection?
Yeah, it was all together, all one.
If we look at what I'd say is this group of items right here, this is diagnostically Baltic Viking.
Baltic Viking, is that not Viking?
Well, I think the academics would say technically it's not Viking. These are tribes that were not necessarily as migratory as the Vikings or as warlike. They were contiguous with the Viking areas, and they traded quite a bit with them, and they copied their style of garb, their style of decorations. If you or I were put back in time and we walked in on these people, they would have looked like Vikings to us.
Okay.
Unfortunately, you see a lot of these types of items on auction sites right now. Because of that, the value's very low to negligible on these items. This particular piece caught my eye. This is part of a bracelet. It's a copper alloy. And so Viking currency, what they would do to trade is they would just cut bits of bronze and silver and they'd weigh it out. The merchants all carried scales, and that's how they would transact. You know, this item is probably worth $50.
Okay.
The complete bracelet is obviously larger and more interesting. The dragon head terminals are really an attempt to copy Viking jewelry that was being made in Sweden at the time, around the 10th century. And this item would probably be worth about $175 to $200.
All right, and this stuff?
This stuff, this is based on its size, and certainly not a Viking spear. It's an arrowhead of some sort. It could date from any time. And,
Okay.
I'd have to defer on that. It's not worth a lot, but it's certainly outside of my range of expertise.
And the bracelet?
The bracelet it appears to be Viking gold.
So you're saying this is legit Viking gold, the magical gold?
Well, I can't endorse any magic to it, but I would say it would appear from its form and how it's manufactured, these pleiated wires, to be very traditional Viking. Obviously, it would appear to be the star of this group of items. Auction estimates on it would be something between, 6,000 to 8,000 British pounds, which would be, and I'll leave it to you to translate.
Please translate, my fine friend.
6,000 pounds would be right around 9,400 bucks.
Man, I knew it was worth something. He quoted the bracelet at over $9,000, and I think that's great because I only thought I was gonna get $1,000 out of it. So looks like I hit the jackpot.
Well, thanks for coming in, man.
I really appreciate it. If you want to see some really exciting stuff, I've got a couple swords that be happy to bring by the shop and show you.
Oh, bring them by. I'll take a look.
Terrific.
Hey, appreciate you, buddy.
No problem.
All right.
My pleasure.
All right.
I'm gonna show you what I want. Okay, these right here, I want to give you 150 bucks for it.
I was thinking more along the lines of about 400. You heard what the guy told you.
I know what he told me, but I don't have a lot of customers going, hey, dude, you got some Viking jewelry? I'll go $200 on it.
If you can do that, you can do it 300.
I'll tell you what, I'll do 250.
You sure that's the best you can do?
Keep them then.
250.
All right, we got a deal, 250. Now this right here, I was thinking right around $6,000.
I was thinking around $8,000.
Okay, plain and simple, I'll give you $7,000. I will not give you any more. That is what I will give you. It is a more than fair price.
75?
No, $7,000. Okay, I mean,
you're a hard guy to
I'm not a hard guy to deal with it. You're the one who walked in here and wanted $1,000 for all of it, and you're walking out of here with $7,250.
Okay, well, for the magical gold, we'll have to settle at that, buddy.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'm gonna box this stuff up, and I will meet you right over there at the pawn counter.
Okay. 7,200. I'm gone. Hit the jackpot straight to the bank. Let's get on.
Rick, I said I'd come back with some more intriguing Viking items. All right.
Come around, put them right here. Moments like these remind me of how much I love my job. Most people, especially here in the United States, never get to see a real Viking sword in person. But Laird is willing to let me look at 2 of them that he has in his collection. And to a history nerd like me, there's nothing cooler.
What I've got here for you is some classic Viking swords.
Cool.
We've got one that's classic from the pre-Christian era, decorated with silver and copper and niello, which it's rare for it to survive because a lot of times the Vikings, when they put their dead into graves, they burn them first. And they often burn the items with them. So silver, copper often just melted right off and you're just left with the iron.
Can I?
Yes, certainly.
All right. This was a lot of work, a lot of skill. We're talking, what, like 800 AD?
That one's probably closer to 950.
Okay, but still, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of technology, and most people don't realize how difficult iron is to work with.
And what we don't realize is that it took a lot of effort to turn iron into steel. So to get the carbon in to make the edge actually hard. On this one, it's a special item because it's after the conversion to Christianity. It's around 1050 AD. This sword actually was published in an article that studied the carbon content of steel in a number of swords. It was about 0.8%, which we don't think of as high today. But back then, very, very high. And this one is actually inscribed. And what you can see, I'm not going to stab you, but this one has the name Niso, and then it's followed by the Latin phrase me fecit, which simply means Niso made me.
Okay, that is definitely cool.
When you think about a Viking sword and what it meant to the owner, it was a signal of differentiation and wealth and power within the Viking society. We can almost think about it today like the difference between, a gentleman driving a Dodge Neon and a gentleman driving a Mercedes S-Class.
These are pretty damn amazing. So you're looking to maybe sell these things?
I haven't actually sold a sword from the collection since probably 2006. The prices tend to be pretty high because they don't come up that often. They're both something in the $35,000 to $40,000 range.
Okay. It's a great piece of history. It really is. But out of my league for most of my customers, you wouldn't sell me one for like half that?
I'd love to be able to do that, but I don't think I could ever replace it.
I understand. Hopefully you'll go broke one day, though, man.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
All right, man. Well, thanks for showing it to me.
Thank you, Rick. Good to see you. Rick's quite a businessman. Sometime in the future, it's always possible that Rick could pry one out of my hands, but for now, I'm pretty resolute.
How you doing?
I've got a World War II flight jacket that belonged to my father and some mission logs that he kept while he was flying around in a tin can.
Okay, that's what they really were.
I came down to the pawn shop today to sell my dad's World War II bomber jacket and mission logs. I want to sell them today because I have no one to pass them on to. I am definitely looking to get $800 to $1,000 because I think they tell a story together.
All right, so this was your father's?
It was.
What kind of plane did he fly in?
The B-17. And as you can see, he kept track of his bombing missions, of which there was D-Day.
Every time they had a bombing mission, they put a bomb on their jacket. To be on D-Day is pretty cool. There was a lot of planes on D-Day. A lot of them got shot down. I mean, this is an amazing jacket because if he flew 29 missions and still lived, usually they got to, like, maybe this first row. It was the most dangerous job in the military, period.
Really?
B-17 Flying Fortress was an amazing aircraft. They returned from missions half destroyed, and somehow or the other, they were still able to fly. The men who flew them loved them. But that said, thousands of them were shot down. So what's in the logs? Is there any here from D-Day? This is all 1944.
There should be, because
All right.
he was in flight on D-Day.
Okay, day of days, D-Day. Jesus, I have never seen so much flak. It was terribly accurate, intense, and extra heavy. Had I been at my radio, I would have been pushing up daisies. 7 holes in ship. He moved, he came back, and there were 7 holes where he was sitting. Pretty amazing.
He would also count down. He'd go 10 to go, 9 to go, and I didn't know what that meant.
When you went over there, the number of bombing runs was 25.
Oh, okay.
You did 25 and you were out. I've gotten a couple of World War II bomber jackets, but never with corresponding paperwork. This is going to make it worth so much more money. What do you want to do with it? You want to pawn it? You want to sell it?
I'm looking to sell it.
Okay. I mean, people like to buy these because they're, they're history, and they're actually pretty cool. But I have no idea what fighter squadron he was in.
Right.
I just want to know more info about it before I give you a price. And my buddy actually is the curator of an aviation museum, so he'll know everything about it.
Perfect.
Let me go give him a call, and
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Appreciate it. I grew up with my dad wearing his jacket, and then after reading the mission logs myself, I am excited to see what the expert might say about the pieces together.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, Rick, how you doing, buddy?
How are you?
Always good, man.
Smartest guy I know.
Cool.
The guys normally call me down here when they've got a really interesting or unusual historical artifact that they need some more information on. So what do we have today?
We have a World War II bomber jacket and some actual flight logs from the B-17.
Oh, interesting.
This is my father's jacket.
Do you know what position he was on the bomber crew?
He was a radio man.
Mm-hmm. Do you mind if I take a look at the flight logs?
Nope, that's kind of why they're here.
You know, the interesting thing is this was not official documentation. The debriefing, that was official, and that was done at the end of the flight. This, obviously, your father He just wanted to have a record of what he was doing. And it's amazing stuff when you read through this. You know, light flak bombs away, right wing picked up a hole 1 foot in diameter. I was really scared as usual. What I love in this, he's honest. This is wonderful. This is great first-hand material. Mission logs like these that was just one man's account of what happened on each mission, that's really quite unusual. To have the logs going along with the pilot's jacket, that's amazing because that just brings it alive.
There's a few things I want to ask you about it before I start making an offer on this thing. First off, do you know what patch that is?
This is actually a squadron patch. It's actually the 364th Bombardment Squadron. What is missing on here is it's either a coyote or a wolf's head on it with a lightning bolt coming through it.
The other thing is, why 29 bombs and not 25?
It's later in the war, and my own sense is he probably decided to keep flying. When we think of World War II veterans, we tend to think of old men and old women, but these were kids. And these were in their late teens, early 20s, and they were scared, but they were willing to do the job that needed to be done.
As always,
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Good to see you.
So how much were you looking to get out of it?
Well, being as he said it was such a unique piece, I was hoping maybe go to 2,500.
I agree with you that it's a lot cooler now that Marks came in and take a look at it. But I can't do 2,500 bucks.
$15?
I will do 12. I will do $1,200, and that would be my tops.
Okay, I'll agree to the 12.
All right, it's a deal. You want to run it up, Corey?
Yeah, just follow me.
Okay, thanks. We ended up settling for $1,200, which I felt was fair. I feel good, and I hope that people get to experience the jacket and the logs as I did.